morning, everyone. It's your girls from Obscure Orations, me, Tay, her, Dana. And today we decided to have the topic of randomness. It's gonna be like all over the place, which I know is pretty much what all of our episodes are like. However, it's been a random as fuck couple weeks, I think, for both of us. So it's gonna be everywhere. It's gonna be all over the place, and we're gonna be like, can you believe this shit?
Things happened, things are happening, things are gonna happen, and we're gonna talk about it all.
Okay, so we'll start off with Dana. What's your first
Okay,
tick of the day?
My first thing is, I think I have a mild internet stalker. So Tay knows, and I'm gonna share with you guys. I won't use names. I don't use names for bad things.
Only the good stuff where we're like, when she was a child, Anne and her used to steal from me.
Exactly. So I'm gonna go back to like June.
Yeah.
Tay found a group on Facebook for podcasters where you could either ask to be a guest on a show or find guests for your show. And we found a plethora of guests.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of who have booked me in and then ghosted us, or well, I can't do it at that time, even though I specifically told you what time we were going to be doing it at. They wait until like the day before, or they get sick, or they travel, or I say email us, and again, they
never get back. It's crickets go chirp, 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 chirp.
But there was one. No names. We'll refer to them as a they. Because when Taylor made the post, she put message me and highlighted my name. Obviously. And of course, I expected that because she works. She wouldn't have time to answer or field, 40 conversations. I don't work. I can handle it. No problem.
Which is one of the things that I appreciate, because we balance each other out for that, where it's like, okay, by the time that I see the emails, normally Dana's like, oh, hey, did you see that I talked back and forth with this person? I'm like, no.
Sure.
There is an email thread, and I have to go back and read through all of them. Like, oh, yeah,
17 emails later. So anyways, this person is an author. They have books out and they're published. And their books go back, I want to say 10 years.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So there was like 2 books published, and then a lapse, and then a name change, and then more books published, with the latest book being published last year. So anywho, they were going to be on the show, but, trying to explain to somebody that my co-host, Taylor, has a full-time job, and she has entered into the worst season, which is AKA blackout,
Yep.
from now until Christmas. I'll be lucky if I can get to talk to her.
I'll basically become the ghost that comes and goes, hello, what's the world like out today?
So, in conversation with this person, now they never emailed our email account. They continue to talk to me and me only on Messenger. When it came for their day and their time slot, send a message. Still want to be on the show? Are you okay with it? Yeah, I want to be on the show. Have you read my book? Pal. You ever see the Cat in the Hat, like, twirling all those plates on a stick? That was me. No, I haven't read your fucking book. It's on my Kindle, along with 28 other books that I haven't read yet. I say no. And he says, okay, well, I probably can't do that time. If you can do 5 p.m. during the week, I'm like, no. Taylor works. It has to be one of these 2 days, hopefully the Sunday, because we know she's not going to be working on Sunday until next week.
Yeah, I was going to say, until next week, and then it becomes, it's all fair game.
So, back and forth like a tennis match. Finally say to them, listen, how about we just reconvene next year when Tay has free time and she's not working overtime, not working 6 days a week, and we can better fit you into the schedule. Okay, fine. I'm thinking I'll have to worry about this now until 2025. No. It has been a solid, 4 weeks? 4 or 5 weeks easy.
I say, I don't know what suddenly, like, what clicked in their brain, but they have been hot to trot with you.
And it's like, hey, how's it going? Good morning. What are you doing today? Oh, and like, Taylor knows I do nothing. But here I am. I'm like, oh, getting ready for going to a wedding. My husband's friend. My husband's friend is getting married today.
That was the best part, was when you're like, the husband, my husband.
He's like, that's great. Have fun. I don't answer. Have you read my book? No. I was painting my house. I'm sorry I did not take many, many breaks to read 4 chapters of your book every hour. When I get to it, I told you I would do a review on Goodreads and Amazon, and I will. I hold true to my promises.
Mm-hmm.
At least, well, there's 7 days in a week, at least 4 of them. Have you read my book yet? Finished my book? Did you review my book? Fucker, if I reviewed it, would you not get a notice?
That would be my thought.
And then it went from, did you read my book, to, good morning, what are you doing today? Stop getting personal. You don't know me. You're not on my friends list. You know nothing about me, but you know I'm married because I've repeatedly mentioned my husband. And still, so I sent a screenshot to Tay yesterday.
Yep.
Sorry, y'all can see.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, hey, did you get a chance to keep reading my book? I'm like, you know what? I read when I have time between home improvements and taking care of my mom. Sometimes I don't open my Kindle for a few weeks. I promise I will review it when I'm done. No response. Now, that was yesterday. If I hear from them by Wednesday, I'm going to post on TikTok a little mini rant that they once again asked me if I read their book. Well, and, you know, I don't mind interacting with the people that want to be on our show, the people that have been on our show,
Mm-hmm.
or even people that wanted to be on our show but we couldn't make it. Don't have a conversation with me like you and I are best friends, or even friends, or even mild acquaintances. I don't know you. Dude, you literally go by 3 names. I don't know what one to call you because we're not close.
Mm-hmm.
I am a podcaster. You are an author. You wanted to be on our podcast. Leave me the fuck alone.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, and don't get us wrong, like, we do love the guests that we've had on. We have truly enjoyed having them there. Some of them we have become friends with on Facebook, and we do message back and forth. We send stuff back and forth, help promote them because we have enjoyed them thoroughly. Like, it's not that there's a dislike for it, but unless you've been on the show and we've had some sort of interaction to get to know you on a more personal level, don't become a creepy stalker. And don't, for the love of all gods, don't continuously send someone, whether it's us or anyone else, don't continuously badger them and be like, hey, did you read my book? Did you read my book?
Because honestly, I don't want to read the books now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like 3 chapters into the first one, and it's an intriguing story. But you keep fucking badgering me about doing it. It's like, remember when you were a kid and your mom's like, clean your room?
Yes.
You never cleaned your room because you didn't like being told to do it.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as your parental unit quit bugging you, you cleaned.
Yeah.
So
let me just say that even as an adult, I'm still that way. If I'm about to go do something, like if I'm about to go put the dishes in the dishwasher or put them away, and my mom suddenly goes, "Oh, hey, can you put the dishes away?" My ass is gonna stop dead in the tracks and go, "I was going to, but now you told me to, so now, no."
nope, do it
Like,
yourself.
I'm gonna come back over. I'm gonna sit my ass down and be like, "No, now I've got to wait 2 hours just to prove a point that it's not."
I'm gonna have a hot cocoa.
Like, I get being enthusiastic about your books. Like, dude, completely encourage people to read them, but don't go to the point that you've now become like it's weird. It's weird to have a complete stranger messaging you who you haven't interacted on anything other than, "Oh yeah, I will read your book and I will give you a review. Don't worry, I'll get to it."
But to me, it's the personalization. Like, hey, how's it
Mm-hmm.
going? Good morning. What'd you do this weekend? Like, I don't even tell my kids what I did on the weekend.
Well, it's one of those things like I wouldn't even think to ask that of someone that I don't know. Like, I wouldn't go up to, I'm gonna, because it's the hot topic currently still. Like, I wouldn't randomly just slide into Catherine Hahn's DMs, the actress of Agatha. Like, I wouldn't just slide into her DMs and be like, "Yo, I'm a fan of your show. So what you do this weekend?" Like,
Exactly.
it's like, think on levels like that where you're like, yes, we're normal people. Like, by no means are we we're near starlets, not at all. But it's still just regular human interaction where I'm like, oh yeah, I wouldn't just suddenly slide into anyone's DMs and be like, "So, what you doing?"
How you doing?
Exactly. Where you're like, well, now it just feels weird and awkward. It's like, okay, the first time when you're like, "Oh, hey, yeah, I'd like to be on the podcast. Sweet. Here are my books. You can find them on Kindle Unlimited. Awesome sauce." Uh, Even asking like, "Hey, when you read them, could you please leave a review?" Sweet, no problem. And then, you know what? If you want to check in every 3 to 6 months and be like, "Hey, do you have an opening for me to come in? Would it be okay? Yay, nay?" Like, there's a lot of things that go on. Like, obviously, I've advertised for me that I'm not a fast reader. And and that I will also stop reading a book because I'm not ready for the ending. I just finished the Thrawn book last night. I have been on the end of that for 3 months now, but I stopped cold turkey because I wasn't ready to say goodbye. I came home from work and I was like, "It's done.
I
It's
gotta
over."
do it.
Now I'm sitting there like, okay, Timothy Zahn needs to put out more. I need more answers. I need all of the books. Just write 5 million of them. I'll be happy. But I know I say I'm not a fast reader. That's why, like, anytime that we have people come onto the shows, I'm like, I'm not gonna get any of your book read before you're here. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I would love
and
to.
and
It's not gonna happen.
sometimes it's okay if we haven't read the whole book, because James Fisher, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
When James was on our show, we had the best conversation. And again,
Yeah.
Tay and I, we became Facebook friends. We still have conversations with them.
Mm-hmm.
I had read the books. Taylor hadn't, but I hadn't read all of his books.
Mm-hmm.
So it was more to talk about, knowing that he had more books beyond the two that I read. So, like, sometimes it's good to have those elements where you learn something from the person who is the guest on your show, instead of you just spewing knowledge about them at them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well, it was kind of what I like about it is that, well, yes, I will eventually get around to reading all of the books and the 5 billion others that I have. Um, but what I like about it is that, like in James' case, it was you got to have interaction with them and asking them questions about, like, okay, well, how did you come up with this? What made you start writing these stories?
Right.
Even without knowing all of the details of it, it makes it easier to talk about to a certain degree, because then you're not you're not trying to avoid giving away details of the books while you're talking to the author, where you're like, oh, well, I don't want to give the spoiler for this. Like, it's different when we do our book reviews. And it's like, okay, you're coming here, you're coming for a book review. I'll try not to spoil all of it, but it's going to be a book review, so there's going to be things talked about.
Yeah.
Whereas when we have the authors on, I love hearing from them, like their entire writing process. How did they come up with this? What drove them to it? Like when we had, what was her name? Piper Ann?
Pepper?
Pepper Ann. I was like, why am I blanking on her name? Um, and the Texas
The
Swindler.
notorious Texas Swindler.
Like, that was, I loved learning about that, because it was all stuff that it's like, okay, had she not been engrossed in it herself, it never would have seen the light of day. So it was interesting to hear the different ways that she went about it and how deep she went into it. Where it's like, okay, we still learned about the book, but we learned more about stuff behind the book. It's like behind the scenes stuff that I love hearing about.
Right. And she had emailed us.
Mm-hmm.
So we had email conversation where she sent us her ebook.
Mm-hmm.
But again, life, right? Neither Taylor nor I got a chance to read it before she was on. So we knew the premise of the book when she came on, and she told us how she got from point A to point B and everything in between. At the end of our podcast, I went and I got the book and I sent it to my Kindle and I read it. It took me like maybe 3 days to read. I wasn't in the midst of home improvements at that time.
That
and
helps.
It was a really, really good book. And I think I enjoyed it more because I knew her process and how she went about getting the information she got.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's better to not read the book before you have the author on, because then hearing their process makes you want to read the book more. Asking me every week if I read the book yet doesn't make me want to read your book.
No.
Unless you're Stephen King.
But I don't
think he needs my my Goodreads reviews.
He would have sent it to you. You would have opened it and had it read before he ever sent you the message of, did you read? I read it. I've read it 5 times.
I swear to God, one of these days he better dedicate a book to me.
Oh my God.
To my very own Annie Wilkes.
Please do not come and hobble me. Sincerely, Stephen King.
But so, like, the home renovations that I was doing, and I think I've shared some with you guys. We ripped up, so my husband and I ripped up the carpet in our upstairs living room, and going down the stairs to the foyer, we ripped up the carpet and replaced it with laminate and flooring. I'm 53. My husband's 58. It took us more than a few hours to do it, right? And we had friends helping us, but it was a big job. We're looking at, my whole upstairs is about 1,500 square feet, so we're looking at about 800 square feet of flooring.
Yeah.
So then the flooring's in. The baseboards don't match. We're going to paint those black. I spend 3 days literally on my ass on a brand new laminated floor, priming and then painting baseboards. Well, now we got to do the walls because the walls were a pale light blue because the carpet that we ripped up was blue. The walls are a pale light blue and they don't really go with the beautiful new flooring that we put in. So now we got to paint the walls. When we built our house, we were stupid enough. We were young and naive. That's it. We were young and naive to think that cathedral ceilings were attractive. Taylor knows this for a fact. She has seen me. I am 5 foot even.
Yeah, she is.
That's with shoes on. Without shoes, I'm about 4'11". My cathedral ceilings are 10 feet. Now, let's go down into the foyer because my whole upstairs, save for the bedrooms and the bathroom, is open concept. So when you come into my house and my foyer is there and you look up to the chandelier hanging above my tile floor, that's 20 feet. My husband has arthritis in his spine. So it takes a lot for him to be able to do 3 to 4 days of hard labor. So my son and I, Michelangelo, he's Picasso, decided we were going to paint alone. Oy vey. Nothing could prepare you for the visual of me using 2 kitchen chairs like checkers pieces and standing on one chair, painting the ceiling, moving my paint tray to the next chair, stepping over, then grabbing that chair, moving it, painting the ceiling. So it took us about, because we don't do it during the week, so it took us about 3 weekends to fully finish painting the upstairs walls and the ceilings. Now, I still have the hallway leading to the bedrooms to do.
Oh, Jesus.
That may not happen until next year, because I'm done.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd be tired of paint going, you know what, it looks fine for now. It looks fine.
So again, when I tell said author, I am doing home renovations, when I stop at 5 p.m. and make dinner for my family and we sit down and we eat dinner, I make a cup of tea afterwards and I go sit my ass on my couch and I don't even want to pick up my fucking phone, never mind a Kindle, and read. I just want to stare at my TV and glaze over because I'm so fucking tired.
Yep, I know that feeling completely. And you don't even necessarily, like, when you get to that point, you're not even necessarily paying attention or absorbing any of what's happening on the TV. You're like,
Yeah, because, like, the weekend that we did the ceilings, and again, cathedral ceilings, don't do it if you're building a house. Just don't do it.
They look so nice until you have to paint them, and then you're like, you know what? I should have just done a flat.
Yeah, you're like, why am I painting
ceiling
on a fucking slope? Am I mildly stupid? So anyways, the weekend that we did the ceilings, the cathedral ceilings, we had to prime it the first day. No, pardon me. We didn't do anything on Saturday. So Sunday we primed it. Had a half an hour break. It was 62 degrees in my house because we had the doors and the windows all open to help with the paint. We had a half an hour break and let the primer dry, and then we painted white. Now my husband and my son took a break. I cleaned paint trays and paint brushes and rollers. Then we painted the ceilings, and we had to do 2 coats. That was the day that the premiere of Yellowstone was.
Oh, yep.
Now Yellowstone can't come for us. Comes on at 10 p.m. I am so thankful that you did not ask me about that the next day, because I had to go back and rewatch it. Because when you say I was not comprehending what was going on, I was not comprehending what was going on. I was literally like
To be honest, that's because I switched from afternoons to days on that weekend. It was like, okay, when I was looking for it and what was rude. So here's my issue with fucking technology.
Here's your rant.
So online, it says for Paramount Plus, it comes on at 8. For other TV programs, it comes on at 10. So I was looking at Paramount Plus. Someone must have fucked up that night because it didn't come on till 10. I work day shift, so there was no way. I'm not staying up until 11 at night. I need to be in bed by 9 o'clock to give me my hour to 2 hours to unwind and actually convince my body to go to sleep. And then wake up at 4:20 in the morning. So there was no watching it. I think we watched it. I want to say we didn't watch it until Tuesday because my mom had clients late. So I was all excited to watch it. And then her last client came in and it was one of her friends. So then she stuck around. I'm like, great. Now we can't fucking watch Yellowstone tonight. So I didn't watch it till Tuesday. Then get to this weekend, or this past weekend. And I was like, okay, you know what? I know it's not, obviously they lied. It's not coming on till 10. So my mom was tired. I'm like, all right, take your last pill. We'll go into your room. You can get cozy in your bed and we'll watch it on the TV in there. Because I actually had set up her TV and all that stuff. So we go in, I turn it on just for shits and giggles. I go over to Amazon Prime to get it ready to go to Paramount Plus because that's where I have it together. And I turn it on. It's not even 10 yet. It's like 10 to 10. There's the fucking episode. I'm like, are you fucking with me right now? I have been waiting, stalling for almost 2 hours trying to make it till 10 o'clock to watch the episode. And are you telling me that someone actually did it right this past weekend? And you fuckers put it on at 8?
I know.
I was so mad. I was like, half of me wants to not watch it just on principle alone.
And tonight, I'm not going to be able to watch it.
Why not?
Because Norm and I are going to see Fluffy.
Oh.
And we'll be able to watch it tomorrow night because we have Jinx and Dayla tomorrow night.
Oh, you suck.
I'm sorry.
Wait a minute. Oh no, because I'm on afternoons. God, son of a bitch. You tell Jinx that she has to go according to my schedule next year so I can fucking see her. God damn it.
I will tell her and Dayla that they have to do it on American Thanksgiving in Detroit because you have that day off.
Yes, that would be fantastic. I would drive across for that in a heartbeat and be like, yee! That's my second rant. How dare you guys have it during my blackout season every fucking year? God damn it.
It's such a good show too.
Well, I mean, it's Jinx Monsoon. Like, I absolutely fucking love and adore her. And I'm so glad that she has won so many damn times. It's just, oh, God. That's a happy rant. That just makes me so happy.
We're going to do a show about drag queens eventually.
Oh, fuck yeah, we are. So, to return to the stalker subject, I don't know if I've ever told you about when I was in high school. So, I had a friend in high school,
Was that
and
last year? No.
yes. To be fair, I forgot what year I graduated high school in. Just this past week, because I was talking to someone like, when did that happen? When did I start here? Hey, no, that can't be
We
right.
didn't
No,
even graduate in the same century.
no, not even in the same millennia. You're in the 1900s. I'm in the 2000s. Yeah, how to make yourself feel old real fast.
Right?
Um, so, uh, back when I was in high school, I had a friend. She was odd. I'm not gonna lie. Like she was definitely odd. But I always encouraged, like, you know what, just be yourself, be whatever you want to be, kind of thing. Even back then. Now, I lived in South Windsor, and I can say it now. I lived at Academy Drive because I don't fucking live there anymore. So go ahead, stalk me there, bitches. Ha ha ha.
I know where you live.
You're like, want to get some apples? Yay!
It's all about the apples.
um, so this was back before any of us could drive. Like none of us were even 16 yet or had any versions of licenses yet. So I lived on Academy Drive, which was on the south side of our expressway. Now she lived on the north side of the expressway, and then over several blocks and down several blocks. So there was no, like, we weren't even close. Like, we could walk to each other's houses if we really wanted to, but it probably would have been about, I'd say, a 45-minute walk to get to each other's.
Damn.
Yeah. So I'm in the kitchen the one night. We're just watching TV. I went into the kitchen to go grab like a little snacky snack. And all of a sudden, I get a text from my friend, and she's like, "Oh, hey, uh, what are you grabbing in the kitchen?"
Yeah, I forgot you were around when, or your stalker was around with cell phones. Mine wasn't. I'll tell you about that after yours.
I'm sitting there looking around like, huh? And it's like, well, that was a little weird, but okay. So I respond back. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, oh, I can see straight through your front window into the, like, see through to the back of the house. I'm like, okay, what?
Time to buy blackout curtains.
It's like, I don't understand. And she's like, oh, I'm standing outside your house. So this was at about, I want to say like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night during the fall. So it was pitch black. I'm like, okay. So I look at my mom like, yeah, so and so's apparently out front just staring in our house. And she's like, close the blinds. Just close the blinds right now. So I go over, I close them. I'm like, oh, what brought you? She's like, oh, I was just in the neighborhood. I'm like, were you not just at home? She's like, oh, yeah, I was. But I went for a walk. I'm like, this is
My
not
house.
like this is not, you're not just gonna accidentally stroll by. Like you would have to be there with a purpose. And she's like, oh, it's okay, I'm walking back home now. So just like I'm peeking outside through like the we had one of those giant instead of like a tiny little eye hole, we had a big one so you could see everything. I'm sitting there looking out. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I see her walking away now. I'm like, oh fuck. And she did it a couple times where she's like, oh hey, I see that you're not home right now. I'm like, you at my house again? This is fucking weird.
Single white female.
It's like, okay, this is how I'm going to die. This is how I'm going to die. So what about yours?
I had a mini stalker at VP when I was on Midnights, and I was a temp. And it was so funny because for whatever reason, okay, I'm covered in tattoos. He was a very, very good looking young man. And I say young man because he was about 25 years younger than I was at the time. And I was in my late 30s. So yeah, maybe he was about 15 years younger, maybe. Because he was like fresh out of high school.
Oh, so he would have been like 18.
I had to train him. So that's how this all started. And like, I trained him, did my due diligence, blah, blah, blah. He went on his way. But then, like, every day, like every night, we'd go in 10 p.m., started the midnight shift. And he would find me in the crowd for the startup meeting and come and stand next to me. And he'd be like, "You look really nice today. I'm in jogging pants and a holy shirt."
I was gonna say, let me make this very clear. None of us look great at work. Like all of us go to work in our shitty clothes. We're like, no.
in the 13 years that I worked there, I may have brushed my hair twice. Going to work twice in 13 years. So, and then like, he'd be like, "I love your tattoos. They're beautiful." And then it got to where he stroked my arm the one day. And I'm like, "Yo, off limits. Do not touch me.
Don't touchy touchy.
I'm married. B, I could be your mother. C, you're creepy as fuck." One of the PCs on Midnight's overheard that conversation, and he was effectively let go from his temp agency. Now, I don't want to feel like I got him fired, but I think she realized that he was probably a creep in training and out the door.
You know what? We're just gonna help you exit here a little bit faster. Why don't you
But
go back to school, try again.
my high school one takes the fucking cake home. I started high school in 1986. We did not have cell phones. The internet was not a thing. We actually had to talk to people face to face. About halfway through grade 9, I met someone and we just clicked. Like, we liked the same kind of music. We, I never fit in with the popular kids. I wasn't a popular kid. I wasn't preppy. That's what they call them. Collars up preppies. I wasn't a preppy. My dad wasn't a brain surgeon. I was just me. I wore jeans and a t-shirt, and none of them had labels on them. So her and I got along very well, and then she introduced me to one of her friends. So the three of us were like a trio, and it was that way all through high school. Like, I'm talking halfway through grade 9 to grade 12. We graduate, her and I remain friends. The other one kind of whittles away. But the initial friendship, we remain friends. In 1997,
I was 5.
I graduated from high school in 1990. In 1997, I attempted to watch Star Wars with my then boyfriend, aka my husband, in training, and I got pregnant that night. And I never did watch the end of Star Wars. I have not watched it since. Anywho, it's not like he abandoned me. Him and I moved out of my mom and dad's place. Him and I moved in together. My brother was living with us because we had a 3-bedroom townhouse in Polonia Park. So my friend would come over and visit on the weekends. And like when I initially told her that I was pregnant, again, I was 26. She was 25. And she was like, "Are you keeping it?" Yeah. Yeah, I am. I thought it over, and yeah.
I'm gonna keep this one.
So fast forward, our daughter, sorry, Nora, our daughter is a year and a half. We decided we're moving out of Polonia Park, and we were going to buy a house, but then we came out to LaSalle and we decided to build one. So we built a house out in LaSalle. Our daughter turned 2 in this house. Well, we built the house. It was finished in July. We moved in July. In August, Norm's friend Chuck came to Windsor from Sault Ste. Marie, and because there was a Mustang show over in Detroit, he's a big Mustang guy. So we were getting ready to go over to the States. And Norm says, "I'm going to grab the mail." He goes, "I haven't grabbed the mail. I didn't grab the mail on Friday." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, fine." So we go to the end of the street. We have super boxes. Nobody has mailboxes on their houses here. We have a super box. We go down to the end of the street. He grabs the mail and he goes, "Oh, there's a letter for you." Snail mail, folks. Remember, we had the internet, but the cell phones were still iffy.
I now remember this.
I get a letter, and it's from my friend. I'm not shitting you. The envelope is that thick. It's your standard white 11 by 7 envelope type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I open the letter. I'm thinking, why the fuck is she sending me a letter? We talk on the phone all the time. I open the letter, and I'm sitting in the back seat because I let Chuck sit in the front with Norm. I'm sitting in the back seat, and I'm like, Norm, turn down the radio. He's like, okay. I'm like, you gotta listen to this.
I had completely forgotten about this until you started talking about it.
The letter started off with, "The universe has a way of kicking you in the ass to get what you want." I'm like, okay, well, that's weird. She was in school. She was at the University of Windsor. I was a mom. We still talked. We still, hung out every now and then. And I read 8 pages, all about me. Like I'd never lived my own life. Like I was reading the biography somebody had written for me. And on the very last page, there was just very, very little writing. And it literally said, "I love you. I have always loved you. And you have to make a decision. You can either have your husband and daughter." We were engaged. We weren't married yet. "You can either have your husband and daughter, or you can have me. You pick." What now?
The fact, like, she held on
25 years. I've had this letter rolling around in my brain.
Like, she held on to that for literal years. Just year after year after year. Hoping that apparently you would turn around and be like, "Oh, I'm madly in love with you. Yes, please take me away from my husband and child."
And child.
Then we just built a house for her.
And I, like, stunned. Like, you hear people say, "I was speechless." I was literally speechless. I'm in the back seat holding these, like, papers with my mouth, like this. And my husband's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" He's like in the mirror. I'm like, and then when I read that part to him, Chuck's killing himself laughing, right? Because Chuck don't know who she is. He doesn't know anything about my past because I didn't grow up in Sault Ste. Marie with my husband. Norm has met her right? And he's like, I love my husband. He's like, what are you going to do? What the fuck do you think I'm going to do?
I said, turn the car around, Norman. I'm packing my shit and leaving.
I
Keep the
choose
kid.
you and my child. And when I responded, I did so in a way that was face to face. It wasn't a letter type thing.
Which was probably the more mature way to handle it.
Yeah, I just, because I knew where she lived, I just showed up and I knocked on her door. And her mom's like, oh, her mom loved me, right? I loved her mom. And my friend comes to the door and I'm like holding the letter. And she just looks at me. She looks at the letter and she looks back at me. And she's like, you picked them, didn't you? And I went, yeah, I did. Handed her the letter, turned around and got in the car and went home. Because that was the creepiest, weirdest fucking thing I've ever experienced in my life. To have she was literally my best friend. After 12 years of knowing me, just suddenly say, I love you, and you can either be with me or you can be with your fiance, but you can't have both. I may have developed like some kind of PTSD from that. I'm not sure.
Well, I will tell you, just so that all of our listeners and everyone knows, I'm not pining away for Dana. I'm not secretly sitting here going, oh, someday she'll pick me. I'm a lesbian. She'll love me.
Look at me, people. I have not changed. The only thing that has changed, and even then, I was never that pencil thin person. So, like, even after my daughter was born, I was like 170 pounds. I wasn't trolling. I wasn't fishing.
It was
I don't know
trolling.
why. I honestly, to this day, and my daughter turned 26 in October. To this day, I am absolutely 148% perplexed. Like, why people gravitate towards me. So many other fish in that ocean are way prettier than me. Could you go swim at that school? I don't get it. I don't get it. I have no logical explanation for it. And I think, Taylor, we've talked about it, and I think you were the one that were like, because you're a nice person.
Mm-hmm. It 100% is. So, well, I mean, okay. So, again, there's going to be weird comparisons for people, so just stick with it. Like the messages that I'm sure you caught up on when you eventually came back to the chat that V and I were like the other day, where we were talking about how you end up with people being interested in you, where she's like, yeah, we need to find you someone. I'm like, and it was right after it said like, okay, I keep accidentally attracting people and that's the problem. And it's literally just because I'm nice. And part of the problem is that I flirt with my friends. So I have no problem. I will flirt with people, I'll hit on people, I'll tell them, like, I'll compliment them. Because to me, it's one of those things that you can see it can brighten a person's day, where they can be having a shitty day. And if all you do is walk up to them and go, oh, hey, they're good looking, what you got cooking? You can literally see them do, like, several of my friends at work suddenly get a, Stop it. It's like, yeah, that's right. What are you doing?
But there's a huge difference between going up to your coworker and like, hey, good looking, or being in a bar and having somebody say to you while you're shooting pool with your two friends, you look good in them clothes, but they'd look better on my bedroom floor. and if my friend Dean ever came on the podcast, he would attest to that one, because Dean, Dave, and I were the three musketeers at, God, I'm so going to date myself, at Last Harry's on the corner of Wyandotte and Olette and Tecumseh. It's now a Wendy's. Like, we were a fixture there. That's where we spent our weekends. The bartender knew. We would walk through the door and he'd line up our beers and we'd just take them as we passed, and we'd go into the back and we'd shoot pool while we watched the Wings games. And that's what it was. The one Saturday night, we're shooting pool, drinking beer, watching the Red Wings game, and some guy says that to me, and I'm like this, and Dean's like, buddy, you need to back the fuck off. I'm like, that was so weird. Like, it was so, the randomness of the flirt is what's creepy. Your flirts are friendly. Random flirts are creepy.
I would say, and I think that's the thing that a lot of people tend to get confused, is that, like, so, and again, I said it in our group chat, where anyone who's played, like, if you love a good story-driven video game, where you have to actually interact with people if you want to build a better story to it, because you have to have conversations with your companions, then buy fucking BioWare games, because they are very relationship oriented.
Yes, you can flirt up a storm in those games.
Yeah, you can. And the problem is, like, in Dragon Age Origins, one of their older games, they made it so that you could flirt with everyone and you could technically sleep with basically everyone in the camp. And then afterwards, they'd be like, so I heard some moaning coming from Sevron's tent the other night. What about me? So who you going to pick? And you'd have to pick. But you get to sleep with everyone. So I was like, I'm a fucking game whore.
5-word slut.
100%. And I still do that in every fucking BioWare game that allows me to. If there's a goddamn flirt option in that game, my ass is going with it. However, it came back to bite me in the ass, and it made me laugh hysterically, because I went up to the guy that I wanted to romance in the playthrough, and he's like, oh, I want to talk about us, and he's like, well, I don't want to start anything, like any bad rumors or stuff like that. I already heard that you're with someone. I'm like, the fuck I am? I'm like, I didn't lock anything. Oh, I bet I know who it is. So I literally, like, I'm jumping off walls trying to run over faster to him. I talk to the guy, then it goes to this big elaborate cutscene, and he shows up in my room and he's like, tell me to go away. I can't stop loving you, kind of thing. I'm like, go away.
Get the fuck out of my room.
Why are you here? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I guess I misunderstood. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. You're not the one I want for this. Meanwhile, my mom's sitting next to me, and she's literally like, she had the paper or something. She's got it down. She's like, what are you doing to him? I'm like, he's not the one I want. And she's like, so he just shows up in your room? I'm like, I flirt with all of them. She's like, oh, so you're just a slut. You're a cock tease.
I'm like, old lesbian, a cock tease.
Let me just tell you, in every single video game, I will sleep with anyone and everything in those games. You give me a Kunari, which is like a human, well, some of them are humanoid with bull horns on it. And then other ones, there's elves, there's dwarves, then you give me like BioWare Mass Effect, there's all the aliens. I'm like, I will sleep with all of you.
Like, you and what's his name? William Shatner from Star Trek. Captain Kirk.
Yep, I say Captain Kirk.
You'd be loving them green bitches.
My preference is actually blue, as it turns out. And let me tell you, that has come up so many times in my Discord server. because
Oh,
my friends found out about it. So then all of a sudden they're like, because they'd show up pictures. I'm like, oh yeah, I have a huge thing. Like even so, obviously I've read the Thrawn sixology because there's two trilogies, um, and I have had a crush on Grand Admiral Thrawn for years because he is so fucking smart and he's blue. And for some reason, I'm like, yes. And then the Timothy Zahn added in the new character of Admiral Arlani, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely with her. Yeah, it's like Thrawn's good, but I'll take her instead.
I do her.
I was like, yep, I do her, I do that one, I do that one. I'm like, yep, they're all blue. So my friends in my Discord server are like, what about this blue alien? What about this one? I'm like, okay, look, there are limits. They're like, what about this one? Oh yeah, that one though, yes. You give me a Twi'lek, you give me an Asari, you give me a Chiss, a Pantor. I'm like, I don't know why, but for some reason, blue is the color to go with.
So obviously, but like Taylor and I, our personalities are very similar, which is probably why we get along so well.
Oh God, yeah.
So I see what you're saying. Obviously, it's the being nice
Oh God, yes.
makes you not physically attractive, but mentally attractive to people.
And that's the thing. So I had a conversation with one of my friends at work one of the days that we were on a break or on break. Um, Suddenly I have in my head, we were on a break. See, randomness. I told you all. um, and we were talking like, I always find that it's the smaller women who lack more confidence than the bigger women because they are more concerned about it, where they're like, okay, she said multiple, she's like, oh my God, she puts on layer after layer of clothes. She tries to cover her bum. She tries to cover everything. And I'm like, why? It's like, you have a great shape to you. You got a great ass, good hips. You got your little boobs there. Like, you're in good shape. Why aren't you showing it off? And she's like, because it's not. She's like, I'm too fat. I'm not, it's not all attractive. I don't understand. I'm like, no, you are. Like, if it's, you have a good body to you, like, show it off. Do it. Be confident. And when we were talking about it, I was like, for me, I think I can remember a conversation with my mom years upon years ago where she had told me, just be confident in yourself because that's what attracts the people. And she had said that it never mattered, no matter how heavy she was always able to get sexual partners, whatever she wanted. And she was like, I would get more than the skinny broads in the bar. And it was with like no effort, where they just come up and the guys would be like, hey, how you doing? What you doing later? You want to leave those clothes on the floor? See how good they look there? And she would go. And that obviously must have been one of those formative moments for me because I had said to my friend, I was like, you know, I'm sure people probably have that thought of, well, is she confident in herself? I'm like, I am. And what adds to my confidence is that I know there's a line of people that I've met that are like, yeah, you could do whatever you want. Like, I have a line of guys that have all been like, you can peg me if you want. I will be your bottom bitch. You can do whatever you want to me. That's fine. I'm like, well, I mean, it's good for the ego, but at the same time, like, it's okay, bud. We're good. If I ever get there, I'll let you know. I got your number. Don't worry.
If I ever decide I want to swing both ways, I'll call you.
And I'm not waiting around for Henry Cavill anymore, then I'll let you know. But I had said to her, it's like, between that and the fact that when I look at all of the women that I've dated, all been different sizes, heights, hair colors, all that fun stuff, like all over the map. But it's never mattered. I've been able to pull in whenever I've been in that, okay, I'm ready for a relationship. They come and find me where I'm like, okay. And like I said, it's never mattered. It's never mattered my weight either, where I'm like, nope, I know I'm hot and I can get what I want. So, and it was like, I got this. Yeah, smoldering.
Yeah. So where Taylor has all that self-confidence, I do not. I don't see myself the way others see me. My therapist said I have dysmorphia.
Yes, because of your weight loss, so you still see yourself heavier for that
So
too.
my weight loss, I lost 67 pounds over the course of the last year. Well, not last year, but like I'm still technically trying to lose more. But yeah, I was very, very, very huge a year ago.
Very huge.
So yeah, I don't see myself how others see me. And it's surprising to me because like I was telling you what Melissa said when we were at Niagara on the Lake. We went on a wine tour and like I think it was the second winery, we were already trashed. And I think we were pre-drinking before the wine tour.
I was gonna say you pre-gamed the game.
I was getting off the tour bus or whatever you want to call it, and she was behind me and she's like, "Wow, your ass is so little." Like, where the fuck did that come from? So yeah, I don't. So for me, if I am flirting with somebody or somebody thinks I'm flirting, it's totally mindless. I don't realize I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's like you said, I am a nice person. Don't fucking believe what people tell you about me. I swear to God.
I'm a nice person.
You know what? I can't even say I'll have it on my tombstone because I'm not going to have a tombstone. But I'm going to make sure somebody etches it into my urn. I am a nice person. It bothers me to know that people tell other people that I'm not a nice person and I can't be trusted. I am probably one of the nicest, most trustworthy people on the face of the fucking planet. But you know
what's funny? Okay, so we in the new year, we will be starting Dungeons and Dragons. No set in stone dates yet, just because I have to survive. Me and one of my other friends have to survive through blackout first, and then we'll start figuring out going, okay. And the good thing is too, she wants to actually get to, like, she wants to come onto my shift. So that would make
nice.
That would make planning even easier.
What shift is she on?
Right now she's on midnights.
Ugh.
So it kind of sucks, but at the same time, she also goes with little sleep, so I'm not too worried about that. But so in the new year, we are going to be starting. I'm patiently waiting for Black Friday to get here, and then I'm going to buy more D&D stuff on the app. Let me tell you, people, it's not easy because I am heavily impatient because I want to buy it all now. I'm just like, come on, start the sale now. Everywhere else has the sale. Let's do it. But I will be doing my first attempts at being a dungeon master for a group of little misfits, and I have absolutely no hesitation in the fact that the nice person at the table is going to be the one that's probably going to cause me the hardest issues. I'm so nice. I'm lawful evil or chaotic evil for this.
Listen, I'm nice in real life. Throw a video game or a board game at me, it's no holds barred. I will fuck you over if given the chance.
And that's exactly what I'm expecting, where I'm like, this is going to be fucking chaos and I'm going to love every moment of it. And I already got, like, there's already stuff in my head. I'm like, okay, I just got to learn how to be a DM. You guys all got to learn how to be players. So it's going to be perfect. We're all going to be fumbling through this. And
I don't got to learn. I got to remember.
I think that makes
high school was a lot of years ago.
That's
A
at least
lot.
the slight good thing for me, and for you, because back when you would have played, it would have been uh, the third edition. So this is the fifth edition with completely different specs and things. Like my one friend Alicia, who's also a DM for me, um, has used the old third edition and now also uses the fifth edition for it, and constantly shows me, she gets mad because she's like, the old third edition was better, you had so many more options and you could personalize so much more. Like, look, I'm still trying to gather all of the shit for the fifth edition and be like, okay, I got this.
We're good. We're solid.
But I'm excited for it. And like I said, I have no idea. I have no lingering thoughts or misconceptions that Dana's not going to be a problem at the table. I'm just going to hear sudden rolls of dice and be looking at her going, what was that for? Nothing.
I wasn't playing with the dice.
And let me just say, we've already started everyone on their dice addiction. As
what are we
I
up
bought,
to 6 sets each?
I
Well,
think
you
so.
probably have more.
Oh, yeah, I have more because.
But Lucy
So,
V and I would have 6.
Yep, I would say you guys have 6. I think I have 10 now. Yeah, I want to say I have 10.
I think my son has some.
Just see you crawling into the room.
Boy, where's your dice?
What are you doing? And let me just be honest. For anyone who plays D&D, we all know, like, I'm a big fan of Critical Role. So it's something that I plan on telling you girls, like, if you want to get kind of like a little bit of an understanding, like just kind of like maybe a revamp for you about what the kind of new rules are and all that stuff. I watch their recorded live sessions and watch it. And I mean, there's way too much to ever truly catch up, but I do enjoy watching them anyways. But because of them, I've learned how to better use my characters. Because as much as I love like my first character, the one that I accept as my first character, because I actually have gotten to use her consistently, is a arcane trickster rogue. I had no fucking idea what I was doing with her when I first started. And then I started watching the Critical Role, and that's what one of the other characters was. I'm like, oh, that's what I do with that. Oh, that's how I'm like, oh, unagi.
Salmon roll.
Suddenly it all started making more sense. I was like, oh, this makes so much more sense now. I'm like, I get it. I see why they're rolling the way that they're rolling.
Yeah,
I get it.
It's I do believe when we first start, it's going to be a gentle start because
oh god, yeah.
V is like instant noob.
Oh, I would say same for Lucy. Like both of them are brand new, starting out of the gate. And
yeah, and me, it's been 30 years.
I would say, like, I'm the most veteran player, and I use that
Fuck
term.
me, it's been 40 years. Oh Lord, help me.
I'm wrong. Maybe it was only second edition you ever played.
Yeah, I was like 13, 14.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
It's gonna be fun anyways, folks.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, I have to tell you guys a cute little story too.
Okay.
I had my Metallica shirt on.
Yes.
And you're gonna say, you disgusting pig, because yes, I was wearing the same shirt yesterday. I haven't showered today because, like I said, my husband and I are going to see Fluffy tonight, and I will shower before I get ready to go. Anywho, my family wanted lasagna for dinner yesterday. So my husband went to the chiropractor. When he came home, I was dressed and ready to go, and we went to the grocery store. In the grocery store, I see somebody that I haven't seen in a while, and we hugged, and we were like kind of off to the side chatting. My husband was back by the pasta aisle, and he was talking on his phone. And this older gentleman, I'm between 75 and 80 years of age. He wasn't spry, but he wasn't frail either, right?
Like that, he wasn't spry, but he wasn't frail.
As he's walking by me, he reaches out and he touches my arm, and I look at him and he went, Metallica! Like this. And I was like, oh my God, that's me in 30 years.
Just hunched over, walk around.
But it was so genuinely heartwarming because, like I said, here's this man who's like 75, between 75 and 80 years old, and he's a Metallica fan, and I'm like, oh. That's my heartwarming story of the week.
I love it because it's so freaking adorable. So, actually, I'll add to the heartwarming stories. Actually, okay, so I'll do it in two ways because we'll finish off on a heartwarming story. First, I'll do a little rant, then we'll finish off on a happy note.
Rant away.
Okay, so rant. I mean, I already messaged you about it because I was so mad last weekend. In Kingsville, there.
Yes, now I remember.
The light bulb that just lit up the entire room and exploded.
My Christmas lights turned on.
In Kingsville, there was a house, and it was known as the Williams Light Show. It's been going for 6 years now. So literally started the year before my mom and I moved out here. It was a fucking amazing show. Like they had 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, and I think 9:30 every night. So 4 shows a night, and every show was a different one. So you could literally stay for all 4, and every single one was different. And then they had, I think it was like Monday. What was it? I think, you know what? They had a different show every single day, and they took like Wednesdays or Thursdays off, and maybe Sundays, something like that. But they had a different show for every day, and then would just repeat it the following week. And then they'd have their finale. I think it was like either December 23rd or it was actually Christmas Eve. Then they'd take a week off, and then New Year's Eve they'd do their grand finale, which was a brand new show that they hadn't showed at all during their regular season. So they would only do this for about, I want to say, 5 weeks at most, maybe 6. I don't even think it was 6 weeks. I think it was about 5 weeks leading up to Christmas. And what got them started doing it was that the homeowners, I think it was the homeowner's grandmother, was a big Christmas fanatic, loved putting up the lights, loved seeing them with her grandkid kind of thing. She passed away from cancer 7 years ago, I think it was. And they decided, as kind of like a tribute to her, that they would put out hundreds of thousands of lights, which takes weeks to set up. So, like, I think they start setting it up, I want to say end of September, because it takes so long to put all of the lights up and do all of it. They start the programming to do the lights back in fucking June. So it takes a lot of effort and all that. Now, over the past 6 years, they have raised $45,000 for cancer research, all just through donations of people coming, bringing their families to see this beautiful light display. And there's been absolutely no problems until last year. Now, last year, suddenly, there was an issue. Some Karen in the area decided to call the town hall and say, hey, they have lights. It's disturbing the peace, blah, 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 blah. And they found out that it wasn't even someone in their vicinity. It wasn't like an actual neighbor from their neighborhood. It was someone from somewhere fucking else. And it annoyed me to no end last year about it, where they're like, oh, they're having town hall meetings about whether or not they should have the lights. Like, okay, fuck off. Leave them alone. They're doing a good thing. It brings tourists to Kingsville because people would come from all Greater Essex County to see the beautiful display. So my mom and I would go to at least a couple shows a year and leave money behind afterwards, tell them it was great, it was beautiful, all that fun stuff. Now, this year, they decided to have more town meetings. They rolled out new permits that would need to be issued, and the people tried to get on it right away so that they could have their permits ready, get everything together. And they've been fighting with the township for months upon months, trying to get in, trying to get the paperwork they needed, trying to talk to the officials that they'd have to talk to. They started doing the programming back in June to try and get it ready. And then they had to put up the sad announcement last weekend that unfortunately the deadline for the permit was November 4th. And it was something like, oh, November 5th. They're like, oh, yeah, you can come in and see them now. So obviously they purposely fucking yoinked them around and didn't want them to do it.
Right.
So now, unfortunately, there will be no lights this year and no lights going forward for next year either. Hopefully in 2026 they'll be able to. Since they are not allowed to have the lights and Kingsville Township is not working with them, they are putting their house up for sale and have been talking to other townships about what they're allowed to do, what can they do, getting it all arranged. By the looks of it, they're going to be moving to Essex. So to me, I'm still pissed and mad, but I'm also annoyed and disappointed in Kingsville. You have just lost out on a huge tourist draw.
Revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, revenue, because if I'm driving from LaSalle to Kingsville, which is about a 35-minute drive.
Yeah, I'd say about a 35.
And it's a weekend, I'm going to say to my family, let's go for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Kingsville is chock full
yeah.
of amazing restaurants. We would eat there. So there's business at that local establishment. More than likely, because we're going to go for dinner, it's still going to be like, say, around 4:35. If a fruit stand or a side stand is still open, I may grab cucumbers, tomatoes, apples. I'm supporting them. So yeah, they lost out on so much revenue for their little town.
And that is something that drives Kingsville out here. Is Leamington is driven by all of the greenhouses. Kingsville obviously has a few too, but their main drive on Main Street and everything else is that it's a tourist driven place. So they have little boutiques. It brings people in. If they had been smart, I would have said, fuck that, no permit needed. Do what you're going to do, but allow us to advertise it on a board that's going to say, go to Kingsville Park, take a look at these lights too. Hey, have you tried stopping in over at and start listing off all the places for hot chocolate stops, for special dinners? Hey, did you go over here and maybe see Santa Claus's parade? Like, do things that add to it instead of saying, oh no, we don't want you doing it. It's like, okay, so you just lost out on number one, a fantastic family. Number two, people who were actually making a difference in the fact that they were doing a free event that allows families to come together and see gorgeous light displays and get those memories that kids want to go to, adults want to go to, and that raised so much money for cancer and also helped with cancer awareness because they have they had like a giant, like a thing has to be like frick 25 30 feet tall. It's a huge actual evergreen, and they would put on it, you could walk up to them, make a donation, and then say, hey, like in my case, I could have said, hey, my papa passed away from prostate cancer almost 13 years ago, could we put his name on? And they'd be like, yeah, sure. If you have a loved one who passed away from cancer or that you want to show support for, come up, we can add their name to the tree, and it will rotate around the tree for the rest of the night. So, like I said, the amount of just pure disappointment that I have in Kingsville over that, because it's supposed to be such a family-oriented place,
Mm-hmm.
and that was just such a just disastrous disappointment. It's
Yeah.
just, what's wrong with you that you would take that away? And to me, I'm not a big Christmas person. Like, it's become tainted for me over the years, where, like, obviously when you're a kid, it's got all these special happy things attached to it. You get all the happy family crap. Then as you get older, things change. Like, yeah, happy family, happy crap, be fucking happy. Um,
Happy family crap. I'm getting a shirt made.
I know where you can order some. Obscure Orations podcast presents Happy Family Crap. Um, but then as you get older, things change, and you're no longer, like, you don't have that same happiness. Like, I don't have a Christmas tree up this year. Christmas trees are one of my favorite things because I love watching the lights on them. But I haven't felt the desire to. Like, I got into the Christmas spirit. What was that? 3 years ago now. It was back when I was still engaged to my ex fiance there, and she then ruined Christmas for me completely. Like, I had said, all right, I'll put in the effort. I'll try to find a love for Christmas again. It was important to her. She's like, okay. Did the whole thing, got gifts, wrapped everything, put out fucking decorations, all this shit. To then have her ruin Christmas further, where I was like, that's it, I'm done. I'm so fucking done. The only thing I like about it is looking at the lights. And now they took those away. So I went on like a 5-minute tirade of how pissed I was. And that I hope they all like frickin' stub their toes and horrible things. I'm like, you all suck. You're all horrible people.
Right? Council, I hope all 4 of your tires go flat. Sorry. Okay, now you've all seen me try to kill Taylor. On that note,
my spit took right into my hand. So, but I will say that the happy thing that I end on, though, besides spitting on myself, it's everywhere, was that the other day, to kind of go with your happy story, I don't even remember where the hell I was at. I was at somewhere grabbing food for my mom and I, and it was over at the gas station. I was just grabbing her like a passion flaky. I went to go hand the guy the money, and as you can all see, I have tattoo visible there, and then I have like one up here, but that one's always covered by the top of the shirt. And the guy was like, "Oh, I love your tattoo. That's so beautiful." And I spent like 5 minutes talking to him about it. He's like, "Oh yeah, I love the detail and the color and the beads and all the green in the eyes. They're so great." I'm like, "Yeah, it's my favorite tattoo," and it truly is. It's my favorite tattoo. I have loved it since I got it. And he was like, "Oh yeah," asking me all these questions about it. And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, you have a very nice day." Took my junk food and left with a nice full tank of gas and a smile on my face. And I was like, "See, there's nice people out there like that." And see, let me make this clear to round back to the beginning topic. That's not creepy when people say that. That's something that's socially appropriate.
yes.
And I'm not taking it as the guy was hitting on me and trying to say, "Hey, leave your clothes at the front door. Let's go."
Okay. That concludes our fun Sunday. For me,
fun day.
because I am going to see Gabriel Iglesias tonight, aka Fluffy, I am going to do a review tomorrow.
Ooh.
And then tomorrow night, I'm going to see Jinx Monsoon and Ben Del Creme holiday special. It's actually become a tradition. I've 3 years now. This is our 3rd year going. On Tuesday, I will do a review of that. But since we spoke about Christmas lights, and you and I love this person, see these amazing tumblers This is a 20-ounce tumbler. Nice straw.
Mm-hmm.
Steel. Cold stays cold.
Yes.
I've never put hot in it, so I don't know. But and you can get them personalized like mine.
Mm-hmm.
Orations, Dana. These are made by our very good friend Brad Labresh.
Mm-hmm.
Now, go on TikTok and follow Brad Labresh Creations. I'm going to tag him in the video. And you can order for Christmas amazing stocking stuffers. But Brad is also branching out, and now he's doing mugs and wine glasses, and
Ooh.
his work is absolutely beautiful. So go check him out. Like follow the tag, the link, whatever. Go check him out and show him some love. Throw him some business, because if anybody deserves it, Brad does.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? Well, while we're on that topic, because I'll use it, it's a good way for us to also support others. So since we talked about the two of them in this podcast, James Fisher. So look at his books on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited.
Kindle Unlimited, yes.
Okay.
And if you do, go on Goodreads and review him.
Mm-hmm. So he's a fantastic author. So you can find him on Amazon.com.ca. Either way, you can find his books on there. That's where I got his first book. And it's the Spirit Crusher. Yes, I was right. The Spirit Crusher books. Is the third one out? No, it's not out yet.
No, he's writing the third one. It's a trilogy.
Okay,
he also has Well of Torment.
Yeah, that's what it is. Well of Torment, yes.
Which is got a Western feel to it. So these books are splatterpunk books. They're extreme horror, very graphic. There trigger warnings all over the books. But if you can handle it, and I think you can, definitely read them, because he is one talented man.
Mm-hmm. And then the other one was about the Pepper Ann, about the notorious Texas Swindler. Yeah, I got all of it. Which again, Dana has now read and can confidently say it was a fantastic book. Fantastic author behind it too. So much detail. If you haven't seen the episode, go give that one a watch for sure, because it adds to the notoriety of the book.
Absolutely.
Big words.
And again, I will tag them in said video when we post.
Yes. So go out. Those are some Christmas ideas. I think what we'll do is, as we kind of go through the episodes, whether we do minis or not, that kind of stuff, we'll add in little like, hey, you know what? For people who have been on our podcast, here's some ideas, or hey, go listen to them for this, or hey, here's the books that they do, and encourage that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. So take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day. And I don't know when we'll be back. Like I said, I'm gonna try to do my reviews for Gabriel Iglesias and Jinx and Dela. Thursday is American Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to all of our American friends and family.
And good luck to your Black Friday shopping over there. And please, for the love of God, try not to trample each other when you go in there. There's no sale worth that. It's just try and be kind to one another, please.
Friends, if you have to beat somebody up for a Nintendo, your children don't deserve it.
Yes. There does not need to be like an MMA fight down going on.
That's just my 2 cents. So have a great week, and we will talk to you guys all later.
See you later, guys.